All right, thanks everyone that stayed. Appreciate that on a Friday night. I'm sure you had some fun things to go do. Gene talked a lot about saving money and making money. So what I thought I'd do is take a little excerpts of some of the TRIZ lenses that Roy mentioned earlier this morning at the beginning, and maybe give you some ideas of how you could maybe use those lenses to make money, okay? This is a class called Da Vinci and the 40 Answers. It's a class that Roy and I teach here at the Academy. I also teach it outside the Academy on my own at companies and organizations. The basics of it is accidental creativity is when you come up with this great idea, usually at 4 o'clock in the morning or in the shower or watching your kid's soccer game, right? So that's really, it's cool. Accidental creativity is fine. The problem is it's not reproducible and it's not predictable. So a lot of what we teach here in these courses is how to come up with deliberate methods to generate ideas quickly. So you supplement accidental creativity with deliberate creativity. That's a lot of what I'll be talking about. How many people have a dog? Okay. Have a dog, D-O-G, dog.
Dog owners think they know everything about their dogs. But even drinking water can be more interesting than they would ever imagine if they would only see it in slow motion. I asked dog trainer Brislyn Benio to come by the lab so we could take some videos of her dog.
Most people have a misconception about how dogs use their tongues to drink water. So before we do any tests, I want to ask you, what do you think it is?
I think that the dog puts their tongue in the water, the tongue forms a bowl, and that's how they lap it up.
What's a human look like when drinking like a dog? It looks like Matt's a better cameraman than a dog.
Gosh, it's going up my nose.
Yeah, I think that's the most efficient way you can do it.
And of course, everything goes up my nose.
If he didn't drink out of a cup, he'd probably die of thirst or drown.
Came here for. So let's look at what your dog looks like when she drinks. So Taylor, whenever you're ready, you want to take a drink of water? What do you see?
It seems as though she's throwing the water into her mouth.
I think it is, and it's almost exactly what you said, but with a twist.
It is. It seems like it's almost the reverse. Instead of being a bowl on the top of her mouth, on the top of her tongue, it seems like she's creating a bowl underneath. I've seen, at the shop we see dogs drink 1,000,000 times a day, and I would have never been able to catch that.
The dog's reverse slurp just shows how surprising things can be when we change the lens of time, and how we can really see and understand our world in new ways.
So how many people knew that? The dog drank backwards like that. What this is an example of lens 17 called another dimension, and I'll give you some more examples of it, but the dimension of time, how you can solve things and do things differently by changing the dimension of time. Is anyone in manufacturing in here? A lot of times in manufacturing, if you have a problem building parts at high speed, you could slow it down and look at it with a high-speed camera. If you go Google high-speed camera, you'll never see a price for one because they're all over $100,000. But you can rent services now for about $2,500 a day to bring a camera in and can shoot high-speed operations and break it down and see what's really going on and see how you could fix it. So lens 17 is moving into another dimension. How about an IMAX movie? Is that a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional thing? It's not really 2D and it's not really 3D, right? It's kind of a 2-dimensional screen, but it's shaped a little bit differently. The sound is kind of 3-dimensional because something can fly by and you hear it kind of come from the back of the room to the front. So when IMAX theaters first came out, they were a big hit because they applied to a different dimension that you weren't used to, if that makes sense. Holograms is kind of an example. How about Disney World? Did you guys know that there's tunnels underground? There's an entire city under there. That's changing the dimension of the actual theme park so that you can't see all the things they don't want you to see. Like you'll never see a character just walking down the street without purpose. You'll never see him moving trash anywhere very far distance at Disney World because there's thousands of doors that are very close by just to move the trash so you take it out of the way. The CN Tower in Toronto, how many people have been there? CN Tower? It's 1,500 feet in the air and they have this glass floor. You're looking at the tower right here, and you can jump up and down on it if you want to. And there is no economic depression at the CN Tower. I was there 2 months ago. You have to wait 2 hours to buy a ticket, to get in line, to go to the top of this thing, to see this little cutout glass, okay? Think about that. Changing the dimension of space made that a huge attraction. It's Toronto's #1 attraction, is the CN Tower, because they put glass in the floor. How many people have heard of Second Life? Really? How many people have an avatar? How many don't know, never heard of Second Life ever? Okay, it's an online virtual world. You go build an avatar. It's, quote, Second Life. You make a second life for yourself. You build a little three-dimensional character. You go date people. You go to concerts. You go buy property. They have their own currency called lindens. You have concerts played in there. You have congressmen and senators going inside of there doing speeches. That's a dimensional change, right? You're running an entire life in a computer world that doesn't exist. So if you're putting together a cool gift basket for somebody and you want to put a chocolate bar in there, is this a cooler looking chocolate bar than a regular flat Hershey's bar? Now everyone will argue with me, well, because it tastes better. Well, really? Go do the side-by-side test. It's mostly because it's three-dimensional and it's different. So all these are examples of one of the 40 lenses that Roy was talking about this morning. How do you change the dimension to make it more creative and more interesting? What if you had a water slide that went through a glass aquarium that was a shark aquarium? That's a real thing, Paradise Island. How many people have seen this, the Big Horseshoe thing at the Grand Canyon? It's a big horseshoe walkway that goes out over the Grand Canyon, and it's all glass on the floor. So that's another dimension. You get to actually walk out over the Grand Canyon, right? So do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? You can't take a camera. When you buy a ticket to go out there, they won't let you take a camera. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea or not. I mean, at first you're kind of like, well, it's a bad idea. I want to take my camera and get a picture. But then again, it's a exclusivity club, right? And they're policing it pretty well because you won't find many pictures. I can't find any on the internet. Go Google that. See if you can find a bunch of pictures of people taking pictures over the edge or down at their feet. So they're doing a good job of doing that. That's another dimension. They just built this little attraction.